All right, ladies, we keep moving on. We're plugging through these teams. Kansas City Current is next on the docket to talk about. They finished 11th last year after making it to the NWSL championship just a year prior to that. They have a new head coach as well. The former head coach of the United States women's national team, Vlatko Andonovski, has returned to Kansas City. If Kansas City has anything this year, it's a brand new purpose-built stadium for women. That is where you can watch it. They are opening their league play at home, 1:00 Eastern time. So watch that game because you'll get to see it. I mean, the locker room looks sick for the players. The stadium, everything is very beautiful. It is very teal in Kansas City. And we got to see kind of how they're going to look under Vlatko Andonovski, who didn't do too well as a national team coach, but has succeeded and has a lot of success in the NWSL and with national teams. Darian, you know him. Do you expect big things from Andonovski with Kansas City this year?
Yeah, 100%. He's probably my favorite coach I've ever had in the league in my playing career. And he does so well when he has time. I think we've spoken about it at length. That was the downfall with the U.S. women's national team, is it's so concentrated moments that you have to make really big decisions. And I think he's a coach that maybe needs a little bit more time with players, time in a system, buy-in in that same way that you have confidence in your relationship with your coach and their plan of action moving forward. And I think Kansas City is also a team that's been craving that for a really long time. So this is a really good pairing. I love that he's back in KC, where he's won championships with this team in the WPS previously. And then these huge signings, Bia Zanerato, who killed it in the W Gold Cup. Temwe Jawinga is another huge one. Sophia Braun, Nichelle Prince. I think that this team is going to be very scary because they already have a core group of players who play really well together and are fun to watch. We've seen them do really well. 2022, they crushed it. 2023, it was, again, when you don't have a consistent coach and there's things outside of playing that affect how you can perform on the field, a team's not going to do well. You look at the roster of this team, they're stacked. This is such a good squad, and they weren't able to show it last year because of elements beyond their control, which sucks as a player because you just feel that a whole season is wasted. Huge moves getting Vlatko. I think he's going to give consistency to this team. He's going to give them a blueprint of how he wants them to play. And then you have very creative players, Zanerato, Dabinia, Labonta. There's so many.
This front line is so stacked.
It's crazy. So I think this is going to be one of those top 8 teams that's going to be really, really tough to play against for sure.
I'll give that. I'm going to agree with you. I'm going to give that to you, Darian, because I feel like when we're looking across just the overall NWSL landscape of things, especially in terms of quote unquote new head coaches, Vlatko Andonovski is technically new to the Kansas City Current, but this is not a coach who's new to NWSL, or at the very least coaching a women's pro soccer team in Kansas City. That factor is something that I think they don't have to worry about. That experience is already there. That familiarity is already there. And sometimes for a team trying to turn things around, that is what it takes. It takes someone who understands routine and is able to, provide that for a team. And I think when we're looking at some of the personnel across the roster, obviously the moves that they made are big ones. Getting some major international players is going to be, I think, massive for them. But I also like some of the NWSL talent that they just already had there. I mean, getting Nichelle Prince, I thought was pretty high up there for me, and it was one of the earlier moves that they made, and it just sort of, for me, kind of maybe it was a little bit of a flag or signal, a little bit of what Andonovski is possibly going to want to have his team play. I mean, he's no stranger to the 4-3-3. He's no stranger to wanting his attackers to commit to both sides of the ball, get a progressive in their press. Like maybe that's what we're going to see. So when I saw that trade happen, I'm like, okay, I think Nichelle Prince could fit this profile, this sort of Vlatko Andonovski kind of prototypical player. So I'm with you. Sometimes those things are just what are needed to kind of help a team get out of a little bit of a funk. And in this case for Kansas City, it was a season long grind, and maybe, I don't know, having a head coach with NWSL experience and familiarity with the local landscape, and I don't know, having the first ever NWSL specific stadium and facilities are going to be those things that help this team kind of throw what happened in 2023 out the window and just look ahead.
Yeah, blank slate is key for this Kansas City side. And I think they are going to get it with the new facility, the new coach. And it is very clear what Andonovski wants to do with this side. It's scored a lot of goals this year in the NWSL. I cannot get over the amount of attackers and the quality of attackers that he has.
Yeah.
Chowinga, Prince, Zanarado, Labonta even. I'm
Yep.
throwing her in that mix. Michelle Cooper.
Yes. I'm ready for year
Hamilton,
two. Michelle
Alex
Cooper.
Pfeiffer, Hamilton, Mace, like Dabinia, throwing her up there as well. They have players that know how to score and want to score consistently. This team is going to put up goals. Will they be exposed defensively? I think there are going to be times when they could throw a lot of numbers forward and see what happens in the back, but in the best way. I think it's going to be entertaining to watch Kansas City this year and what they do. There's a bitter taste in a lot of these players' mouths from what happened last year and just not having a lot of consistency. Their game plans were all over the place. They would go into games and be leading at halftime or leading into the 70th, 80th minute and then fall and end up losing the match altogether. Just tough for them to have a lot of consistency. And that's what I want for this group. They're going to be contenders, I think, as well, making it into the postseason. That's where Vlatko Andonovski wants to be. He also has something to prove with the way he went out with the United States women's national team. He has something to prove, and this is where he wants to be. Now is his chance to prove that and to move forward. And we get to see a first look at it on opening day, Saturday, at their new stadium. There's going to be a lot of pomp and circumstance around it. They're going up against Portland, though. It's going to be a test. It is not going to be a walk in the park for Kansas City to start this year. They are at home, though, so we'll see how it all gets going. Saturday, March 16th, 1 o'clock Eastern, you can watch the Kansas City Current.